Welcome to Gulfstream today, and welcome to beautiful Gulfstream Park. Ron Nicoletti, along with Akisha Courtney, and we're about to end an exciting week here at the Live Racing Week. Gulfstream always open for simulcasting, and just a real quick note before we're going to starting this week. We're reverting to our 4-day-a-week schedule. We run from Thursdays to Sundays through most of the summer, except on July 4th weekend. Of course, we'll be here for July 4th. Just really quickly on that. But before we get started, want to go back, Acacia, and show the Belmont Stakes.
Yes, it was an exciting day yesterday, and we have the stretch run of the Belmont Stakes for you. Of course, the winner, number 13, Creator. It was the first Belmont Stakes win for jockey Arad Ortiz, and it was a really tight photo there. What I want to draw attention to is along the rail, though, the number 1, Governor Malibu, who, as we mentioned, was actually my pick. You see there, he just got totally checked back and had absolutely no room to run. Still ended up finishing 4th, but congratulations to the connections of Creator.
Yeah, I mean, a good ride by the jockey Arad Ortiz Jr. You know, as the Steve Asmussen, the trainer, said, he saved some yards and he won by an inch. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a great saying. So just wanted to go back. Congratulations to the connections. And how about our buddy Lonnie?
Yeah.
The Japanese horse come running late.
He made up a ton of ground to finish 3rd. You could even hear it in the call. And here comes Lonnie. And very exciting to see that. It was a great trifecta.
Yeah, and we're going to start today here at Gulfstream Park with a fast main track. Turf course is listed as good. And now we'll run through our wagering menu. In the first race, we're going to start it off with the rolling super high 5. And as we do each and every day, we'll have our first of 2 pick 5s in race number 1. And Acacia will show you her ticket in just a couple of moments. And then the Rainbow 6 with a 9-race card. We got 9 races today. We'll start in race number 4, approaching $10,000 in that pool. And our final pick 5 of the afternoon will be in race number 5. And of course, that is the last 5 races on the card. Fast main track, good turf course. I think we're ready to go.
I think we're ready to go, so let's dive in.
First race, 1 mile and 1/16 on that good turf course. Claimers, fillies, and mares 3 and up. Non-winners of 3 races in life or 3-year-olds, $10,000. Scratch both main track onlys, number 8 and number 9. And now, Acacia, will show your early pick 5 ticket.
Early pick 5 ticket, races 1 through 5, $36 today. I did single in the 3rd race with the Ralph Nix trainee, Kiss Us. Trying the turf for the first time. It's a little bit of an unknown, but been keeping some really good form. And in an effort to keep it affordable, I did throw that single in there, but I did go 4 deep here in this first race. I thought it was pretty wide open.
It really is. I don't know who you started with, but I went with the number 3, Angel of Love, was a previous winner at this distance. 3 previous races with that 1 win, stretching out, dropping a notch, went up last time out, duel for the lead, faded to finish 5th, but it was against 12-5 condition claimers going 7.5 furlongs. So the reason I put this horse on top is, and when we're going to also talk about the morning line favorite and the other horses, they've never won at the distance. So I took a shot with the number 3, Angel of Love, proven commodity at 1 mile and 1/16.
Yeah, I used that horse for the same reason. Finished 5th last time out at the 7.5 furlongs, but was only beaten a little bit over 3 lengths. Stretching out now. The addition of that extra real estate there on the grass, I think, will certainly benefit her well. I went with the number 1, Antsy Dad on top, who's also stretching out. Last time she ran at the 1 mile and 1/16 was 2 back. It was on a good turf course, which she'll get today as well. And she finished 3rd that day, beaten by 2 lengths. She might be the speed from the rail, which is what I was thinking. The 3, Angel of Love, does have the potential to go a little bit more forward as well, but it was a question mark of where the speed was going to come from, and I thought Antsy Dad might be able to get more towards the front.
On paper, Antsy Dad's strictly the one to beat, but I didn't like the 0 for 9 record at the 1 mile and 1/16 distance, so I put it on the ticket, and you're right, it's wide open in here, and I used the number 6 I'll talk about in a second. That's Adar. This one's still looking for its first win in 1 mile and 1/16, stretching out, rallied late to finish 3rd, beaten just under 2 lengths, and that was against this caliber competition going 7.5. Daughter of Kitten's Joy, we're talking a little bit about the speed. This one's going to be running best of all late.
I agree, and this certainly has the late run. I used this horse on my pick 5 ticket for all of those reasons. I ended up going with the 3, Angel of Love, in second, the horse that you just talked about, and then I rounded it out with the number 5, Charanga, who, off of about a 5-month layoff last time out, I thought made a pretty decent performance to finish 4th. Does have a couple of wins at the distance as well, and a few starts in the money, so the 1 mile and 1/16. Actually, past performances have mostly been at the 1 mile and 1/16 lately, so a bit of a specialist at this distance. distance.
Well, let's go to race number 2, and they're on the main track for race number 2. And as we mentioned, the main track is listed as fast. 1 mile and 1/16. Claimers 3-year-olds and upward, non-winners of 3 Life, or 3-year-olds. They're running for a $6,250 tag. 6 runners in the field. You went with the number 6, Cheech Thunder, on top of your ticket.
I did, and I wasn't enamored with the number 5, Slicka, on paper, who's 0 for 13 at the distance. I can certainly see him running well. Instead, I decided to go with the number 6, Cheech Thunder, who finished 3rd last time out at the mile on the dirt, stretching out a little bit. Had tried the turf prior to that. Hasn't been keeping incredibly great form, but it really looked like something clicked last time out after switching surfaces and coming back over to the main track and dropping to this level again.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a pretty good 3rd place finish, and as you mentioned, that was going a mile, so stretching out around 2 turns today. A mile here at Gulfstream Park is around 1 turn. I did go with the number 5, Slicker, on top of my ticket, but I'm going to box these horses in here too. And this one is stretching out to 1 mile in the 16th. Returned from about a 2-month layoff to finish a useful 4th against this level of competition. That was also going that 1-turn mile. Ralph Zadie's the trainer. He's got Gerardo Corrales in the saddle, and I just thought this was a logical choice. But, you know, all the reasons you mentioned, the 6, Cheech Thunder, that's why I put it on the ticket. And then used the number 3 in second, and one of the best named horses around here, number 3, Whiskey Cures Ugly.
Yes, I agree with you on the name. This one's coming off about a 4-month layoff. A couple of disappointing races, so it seems like something might have been off, maybe needed a little bit of a rest. Had been keeping some really good form prior to that, and I like this horse because he's been working really nicely coming back off of that layoff.
I threw in the 4, Colton's Honor, who's dropping to this level today on the main track after showing speed and fading. That was against $10,000 types. That was going 2 turns on the turf. This one can turn out to be the controlling speed in the race. If you look at the past performances of these horses, looks like it's extremely light in the pace department in here. Racing with Lasix off this afternoon, and this is sort of my speed play in the race. I'm thinking maybe if this horse can get out there, you know, with the apprentice on, run well in this spot.
I could totally agree, and that's why I actually ended up going with the 3, Whiskey Cures Ugly, because of that speed reason, exactly as you mentioned.
Well, let's go to race number 3 this afternoon, and this one is a 5 furlongs. It's turf, maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, and upward $25,000 the claiming level. And once again, 6 runners in the field with no scratches or jockey changes in the race. And you had your single in here with the number 1, and that is Kiss Us.
Yeah, and even though I singled, I did think that this was a relatively wide open race and some very intriguing horses in here. Kiss Us is coming from the rail, taking a rather big drop to this level, now switching over to the turf for the first time. Been working really, really nicely coming into this. Ralph Nix, the trainer, Cornelio Velasquez aboard. Was about an 8-month layoff when she came and ran last time out and finished a very good second after showing some speed.
Well, we're in total agreement in here. The 5 we both have in second. Scarlett O'Mara is turning back to this distance. We're talking about 5 furlongs, the first race since finishing second as the favorite. But that was a pair going 7.5 furlongs. That was here during March and April. Mark Cassie is the trainer. I got Elvis Trujillo in the saddle.
And she's a little bit intriguing as far as pedigree. I have to, a grade 3 winner named Too Windy to Haul Rocks, who also had some turf wins. That grade 3 win was on the turf as well. But I had a hard time putting her on top because she has disappointed as the favorite 3 out of 4 times. And she just seems to have been burning some money. Hasn't really been able to find it to the winner's circle just yet. We'll see if a little bit of the cutback in distance helps.
Well, number 2, Final Thoughts, moved to the Jenna Antonucci Bond via the claim and adds blinkers this afternoon. Had a little bit of trouble last time.
Adding blinkers, which I think will be beneficial. Want to go back and show you her first start. This was back on April 3rd. And taken back just after the break, you see she's the number 6 here. Once the video starts rolling, we'll be able to get a little bit of a glimpse. She's pretty wide, and you see now she's taken back. Edgar Prado was aboard that day. He pulls her back. She just doesn't really look comfortable running there. It looks like she's actually going to be totally out of contention. Then we're going to cut as they're coming down the stretch. She's on the outside there. She moves nicely. This is when she's actually starting to try and make up some ground. But you see her head is twisted. This was her first start. She just didn't look comfortable at all throughout the race. I think that the addition of blinkers, now she's out of the screen here, but I think the addition of blinkers might help, especially with the way that she was twisting her head and looked so uncomfortable in her debut.
Yeah, she sort of drifted out a little bit. I think racing greenly is what we're trying to say with the number 2, Final Thoughts. Have it on my ticket for all the reasons you mentioned. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll show you my Rainbow 6 ticket. Welcome back. Race number 4, Sunday afternoon, main track fast, turf course good, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. Claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 races in life, $10,000. Couple of scratches in here. Scratch the number 4, Rock Hard Lady. Also scratched the number 8, Meezy Dancer. And this, as I mentioned, is where the Rainbow Six starts today, approaching $10,000 in that pool. Quickly show you my ticket in here, and went too deep in here with the 1 and the 5, then 3, 3, 3. Single in race number 8, and like your single a little early on, taking a bit of a chance, a horse going, and I just thought this was a logical spot, talking about the 3 horse just before. And then I went 4 deep in the 9th and final race this afternoon, which I thought was fairly wide open at 5 furlong sprint. So their third race. Now let's see. You in agreement with my 2 selections?
Well, I am. I do have the number 5 and the number 1 on the top. I have them flip-flopped, and we both used the 2. I went with the number 5, Cowboys Princess on top, who's dropping slightly to this level now in the Bruno Tessori barn again. 1 on going a mile on the turf, 2 back. Last time out had stretched out to the mile and a 16th, and we finished a very solid 4th there, but has a nice late run from this horse, Cowboys Princess, and I think a little bit of the drop too will be beneficial.
Yeah, and she looks like the logical choice that's going to pick up the pieces. If the horse I do have on top, we're talking about Starship Kalua, who's going to break from the rail today, set the pace, got caught late in back-to-back outings at the same level and distance. It's a daughter of Montbrook, and should, I think, have a little bit of an easier time on or near the front end this time out. But if she fails to negotiate the distance, certainly sets up for the number 5, Cowboys Princess, at least in my estimation. So flip-flop, but we have the logical 2, I think, in here. But Cruising is the other horse we used on the ticket, who's hoping to find just a little more for the stretch run.
I think so. I think just having a little bit more will certainly be the key. The only win for this horse was actually when she finished 2nd, and she was bumped up through disqualification, so she hasn't been able to actually cross the finish line on her own just yet. Last 2 starts were very decent at this mile and a 16th on the turf at the 12.5 level, so she's dropping very slightly on today. And she's one that can sit a good trip just behind the speed, which I agree with you will probably be from the rail with Starship Kalua.
Well, let's go to race number 5 this afternoon. This is a 5 furlong turf event. Claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up with non-winners of 3 races in life, or 3-year-olds, $12,500 the claiming level, and we have 8 runners in here with no scratches or jockey changes to let you know about. And I started it off with the number 1, Miss Mongolia, but I want to see how you put your late pick 5 ticket together.
Just give you a glimpse at my ticket. $54 for this one. I went very widely spread in the first few races. I did have that number 3 horse that you singled in the second to last race, but my single came in the very last race, taking a bit of a gamble. This horse, Wallflower, who's actually even money on the morning line, which I was a little bit surprised to see, but I do think is certainly one that has a good shot to get to the winner's circle.
And that's the race I went 4 deep in.
Yeah.
So we always seem to do that somehow. Well, let's start it off with your top pick in here, and that is Awesome and Then Some.
Awesome and Then Some. Now moving over into the Daniel Pita barn. Finished last time out after showing a bit of speed, finished 4th and was only beaten by 3 lengths. There was a next out winner, Crime Buzz, who finished right ahead of her. And I thought that she's been keeping some pretty good form, and she does have a win at the distance as well. Might be able to improve.
Oh, look at those fractions she was tracking last time out. 21-2, 43-4. As you mentioned, prior to weakening to finish 4th, beating 3 lengths at this level and distance. So I think she's going to be definitely part of the pace this afternoon. But I did go with the horse you have in 3rd on top of my ticket, and that's Miss Mongolia. This one is stepping up to the next level and breaking from the rail again after tracking the early pace, making that 3-wide bid to defeat 12.5, 2 lifetime claimers at the distance. Marcial Navarro claimed his horse 2 starts back, has Eddie Castro going for 2 in a row, but making that jump up for a next condition is not as easy as it appears on paper.
Absolutely, and that's why I ended up putting her in 3rd. I wouldn't be surprised to see her making another good run, but want to give you a stat on trainer Marcial Navarro. In the past 5 years, with horses that won their last start and on the turf, 5 for 23, so only 22% win, 8 for 23 with 35% in the money. So some pretty solid numbers there with the 204, a slightly positive ROI there. So consistent for sure, but nothing that really jumps out at you. Like I said, wouldn't be surprised to see this horse make a good run, but now jumping up a little bit and trying to continue and get 2 in a row.
Well, I split the two horses we were talking about, the 1 and the 7, with the number 2, and that's Ghost of Anapa. And this one is dropping to this 12-5 level after following her $16,000 two-lifetime victory on April 3rd. She's out of the money in a couple of starts, but that's against $25,000 optional claimers. Antonio Sano, Cornelio Velasquez, they'll team up. This looks like a logical spot for this horse. Actually, third choice on the morning line, I believe, at 4-1. But you did go with the number 4, and that's a Carmen's Secret.
Yeah, this horse has quite a bit of speed. Didn't show any early speed last time out. Lunged at the start. If you watch that race back, she just didn't really do much running at all last time. That was also her first one on the turf. So now she's had a little bit of experience there. She might be able to be more comfortable and show some more of that speed and take advantage, be right up there with the 7 Awesome and then some.
We're going to stay on the turf for race number 6, 1 mile and 1/16. These are maiden special weight, 3-year-olds and upward. And I'm going to start it off in here with the number 4, Into the Future. And I want to show you a performance from Into the Future. This one, we're going to pick it up from the top of the stretch home. And I just thought this horse railed exceptionally well. And I'm going to tell you why. This was going 5 furlongs, stretching out to 1 mile and a 16 today. You'll watch this horse running and running. This was the first start back from a 375-day layoff. So I just thought this horse was closing well, stretching out today. Just misses getting second money in here. You see it there in the number 6. So I just thought of that performance with the stretch out. I wanted to go back and show you that. And it's a gelded son of Into Mischief, who's by Holland's Holiday, so certainly bred to get this distance.
Absolutely. I think I totally agree with you that stretching out in the distance will be good. I think that first race off the layoff was definitely a beneficial and necessary one to get back into fitness. I ended up going with the number 6, U.S. Academy on top, who's been working nicely coming in. Last time out, finished a very solid second behind Senor Casanova, and we talked about that race a couple times. There's no way Senor Casanova wasn't going to win that race, and I thought that U.S. Academy ran very well. Cornelio Velasquez will be aboard today, and also stepping up into special weight company, so that'll be a little bit tougher, but I think off of that performance, might be able to make a good run.
You know, I went with the number 8, Extreme Justice, in second. 2 for 2 in the money at this distance. 2 starts, a second and a third. Stretching out, rallied to finish 4th against this caliber competition. That was going 7.5 furlongs, and I think this one sits a really nice trip behind the speed and maybe get the job done. Don't know if they put it on the board. 9-2, so he's actually part of the morning line, top 4 selections in the race. And now you also use the number 5 horse. No, that was your top pick, the number 5.
The number 5 horse, is my second choice,
sure.
Actually. Ozymandias, I think is how you say it.
I'm glad you had to say it.
Taking a little bit of a guess. First-time starter, so we can't even go back and watch some replays to find out. But trained by Mike Maker, Rafael Hernandez is going to be back in the saddle. We're really happy to see him back riding after, I think he lost a kidney and had a really tough comeback after a nasty spill here. So really happy to see him back in the saddle. He'll be riding for Mike Maker. I'm going to give a quick stat on Mike Maker with first-time starters on the turf. 21 for 113, about 19% win, but 43% in the money. You can imagine that his horses, especially first-time starters, especially with the turf, are really well bet down. So to see a nearly equal ROI with $1.92, I thought was pretty notable.
Yeah, and great to see Rafael Hernandez back, who's riding in such good form, too, when he took that spill. So congratulations to him to come back and be able to ride again here at Gulfstream Park. The number 7 horse in here, had to mention this horse. This is Billion Star. This is a $750,000 son of Bernardini, formerly in the Christophe Clement barn. Debuts locally for trainer Antonio Sano after failing to get in track in a pair of maiden special weight turf races. It was upstate at Tampa. The breeding, just thought maybe this horse in Antonio Sano barn down here in South Florida might wake up and be able to grab a share. I believe he's 12-1 on the morning line. Yeah. $750,000.
A very expensive purchase for a horse that really hasn't done too much just yet. And looking at the comments and watching his last races, it seems like he might need to be gelded, and maybe something like that will help. But trying him here at Gulfstream, as you said, after failing over at Tampa, those were both on good turf courses. So he has a little bit of experience experience with some grass there. And as you said, looking at the pedigree, but I had to pass for today.
No, and I can understand that totally. But, you take a look at this horse and, in the post-parade, see how he's doing and everything like that. And maybe, he'll
get
wake
a good
up.
price.
Yeah, get a good price on him. So that is race number 6 this afternoon. We're going to go to race number 7. This one is a 1-mile claimer, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3 races in life, or a race since December 12th, which is 6 months, or 3-year-olds. So you got triple conditions here, $6,250. You went with the number 5, Tormenta de Oro.
Yes, we have our exacta flip-flopped here. Tormenta de Oro looks like she is going to be the speed here in this race. Stretching out now again to the mile, cut back to 7 furlongs last time out and finished 3rd. As I said, going to stretch out again, but really looks to be the controlling speed. I hope that she's able to maintain it. And we know that John Cruz is pretty good with getting horses out on the front end. Hopefully, like I said, she's able to maintain that speed.
Yeah, and this horse, has had 11 races at this distance, a couple of wins, a couple in the money finishes, so certainly can handle this a 1-turn mile distance. As you mentioned, we got our exacta flip-flop in here. I went with the 8. I think it's Draw Dolly.
Doctora.
Doctora. Oh, that's right. We looked it up. It's a female Doctora Dolly. That's the abbreviation. Stepping up to the next level after returning from the freshening to lead every step of the way en route to a 6,252 lifetime claiming score. At this 1-mile distance, Gustavo Delgado is 16%. They're about winning back-to-back races, but a good barn. So, we got our exacta flip-flop. Would I be shocked if the number 5 won it or Doctora Dolly won it? No. So I'm going to bet exacta box in there. And we both closed it out with the number 9, and that is Valid Wildfire.
This one just looks to be keeping some good form. Tried the turf 2 back, and that was certainly a no-go. But other than that, some very solid races in past performances.
Yeah, she was 11 lengths back last time out. She was really far back. She rallied to finish 3rd in that race. She was beaten only 2 lengths. That was going 7/8 of a mile. So getting that extra furlong shows some really nice late interest last time out. So maybe number 9, Valid Wildfire, comes up and steals race number 7. I don't know what she's on the line, so I don't know if stealing's
5-1.
Not really stealing anything. Race number 8 this afternoon. 6 furlongs allowance, optional claimer, state bred fillies and mares, $12,500. 6 runners in the field. And I'll tell you why I singled this horse on my Rainbow 6 ticket. I'm talking about the 3 just before, turning back to 3/4 of a mile after responding to the drop from Stakes Company on the turf. Comes back, runs a really nice second, beating only a length. It's against this level of competition, going 6.5 furlongs. The barn thought enough for this horse to put it in the stake on the grass, and I just think to turn back to 6 furlongs on the main track, it's a bit of a guess on my part if this, as far as the single goes, I know this horse is going to run well in this spot.
Oh, absolutely. I really think that this horse is spotted well. As you mentioned, ran last time against the state breds at this level, the 12,000 optional claimers, and it was beaten only by a length that day. I thought that showed some really nice stalking ability. Has been keeping some good company and finished pretty solidly in a couple of those stakes bids. I ended up going with the number 5, Rock All Day on top, who does look to have some speed. First off the claim now, too, moving over into the barn of Kristen Mulhall. Second last time out at 5.5, so getting a little bit extra to the 6 furlongs now. A couple of bids on the turf, but if you look back on the dirt form, really, really solid there.
Yeah, and she, if you're a buyer figure aficionado, she got a 75, which is the best buyer figure of anybody in the field last time out. But that was against 6,250 claimers, going 5.5 furlongs. So she's the one to beat when you look at that. But I just think I got a feeling that this 3 is going to run exceptionally well in this spot, enough for me to single it. Not that other people might want to go a little bit deep in, but I'm going to hang my hat on that number 3. Now we both used the number 4, Competitive Player.
This horse is 7 out of 11 in the money at the 6 furlong distance, so really relishes this distance, cutting back slightly now to the 6 furlongs, and that is one of the main reasons that I ended up using this horse, because the last couple of starts were okay. Tried out the Miss Gracie handicap 2 back on May 8th and was beaten by 26 lengths that day, but I think this is a good spot. I ran against $16,000 claimers last time, and I think that this might be a good fit, and again, the distance.
Yeah, 4 for 11 in the win column
Yeah.
at this distance, so definitely right about the number 4 competitive player. We're going to end the day in race number 9, 5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. $12,500 in here. As we came on the air, I don't know if they scratched the 11 yet, but our track announcer, Peter Aiello, updates you on the scratch. I'm talking about the 11 is a main track only. I'm not going to mention it. There's not going to be rain. I'm sure there's going to be no rain this afternoon. And your single was the number 3, Wallflower.
Yes, well, now it's going to pour. No, I'm kidding. Well, we want to give and show a little bit for Wallflower's last start back on May 13th. This was off of about a 7-month layoff, and this first race, it led throughout, was the odds-on favorite that day, and see her there, and she just ended up getting tired when it got to the finish line. The winner that day was breaking her maiden. It was start number 28 that she finally broke her maiden. Again, Wallflower coming off a big layoff. It's understandable how she ended up just getting tired, and I think that you can certainly forgive her for that race and hope for better today.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand her being the favorite on here. I don't know about even money, but I certainly know that she's the favorite. I actually have her on top of my ticket, too. But I want to go back and show you the horse that we both used in second was the number 7, Breezy Song. This one certainly can use a clean trip this afternoon. We're going to show this one running up the backstretch that day, number 2, and just had a steady back in this race. You'll see just nowhere really to run. Has to pull out of it really, really sharply. And, took away this horse's momentum. And now you're going to see this horse in the stretch. Once again, it's the number 2 horse. Again, it gets in trouble again and has to, horse comes over and I really check sharply again. You'll see it there. So I just thought after those 2 performances, then tried and rallied to come back on. It didn't finish badly. And Breezy Song, if Wallflower is not up to that even money status, here's a horse that had double trouble that I think could run well there. Trained by Mark Cassie, ridden today by Elvis Trujillo.
Yeah, absolutely, for all of the reasons that you just mentioned. And I think that that's certainly a good indication that this horse did have some momentum, might be able to show a bit more of that today. I rounded out my top 3 with a bit of a long shot play. 15-1 on the morning line is Miss BVI, who's adding blinkers today for the first time. The turf pedigree is a bit of a question mark. Regal Ransom is a relatively new sire, hasn't actually had any wins with foals on the turf just yet. But this one showed much more early speed back in her debut. She's only had 3 starts so far. I think maybe with the addition of blinkers might be able to show some more speed, and maybe switching over to the turf is just a little change that she needs.
Yeah, I just closed it out with the 6, My Martinez, a late running type who responded last time to that class relief with a 3rd place finish at this level in distance. Another one that's going to sit behind the speed in this 5 furlong dash. So that is how we see the Sunday card, and we're about to turn it over to our track announcer Pete Aiello in just a couple of moments. And once again, don't forget, starting next week we go to our 4-day-a-week racing schedule from Thursday to Sunday, but Gulfstream Park always open for simulcasting and great food and all that stuff that we'll be telling you about throughout the day.
Absolutely. Good luck today.
What do I love about horse racing?